Right, so my name is Miles Berry. My day job is training the next generation of outstanding teachers at the University of Roehampton, which is a lovely job to have, it really is. They let me out to go and do other things as well from time to time, such as today. It's lovely to be here, thank you very much. And helping to draft the new national curriculum programmes of study for computing. Blame me or thank me, depending on how they're going down in your schools. And it's that I wanted to talk about for at least much of the presentation this morning. But I'm not going to start with the computing curriculum. I want to start instead with the Key Stage 1 history curriculum. So buried deep down there is this lovely requirement that children should be taught the lives of significant individuals in the past who have contributed to national and international achievements. Some should be used to compare aspects of life in different periods. It's a sensible thing to teach, it really is. And then they give this really interesting non-statutory example of William Caxton and Tim Berners-Lee. Oh, former head teacher, I'm determined to do the hands up. Who can tell me who both William Caxton and Tim Berners-Lee are? Okay, the rest of you don't get a job teaching Key Stage 1 history. Okay, so William Caxton, not quite the inventor of the printing press, but pretty much the man who brought printing to England. And of course, Tim Berners-Lee is the inventor of the World Wide Web, not, as the former Secretary of State would have it, the inventor of the internet. Berners-Lee gets bothered by that. Anyhow, so compare and contrast the two, or rather compare and contrast the two technologies which they helped pioneer. Printing is, of course, a mass democratization of learning. Once we had the printing press, we could take that educational content and make it available as a mass-produced product to anybody who could afford to buy it or anybody who could go to a library and read that. You no longer needed to, have access to the one copy of the book in manuscript or to be in the room at the same time as the person whose ideas they were. You could buy the book or read the book and learn that way. What a fabulous thing that is. But it's a one-to-many mechanism, isn't it? You need to find yourself a publisher. They need to get somebody to print the things. They need to find a distribution network there. You have an elite who write books, and then a people who read books. Of course it's open education, in some sense, open educational resources. Remixing it tends to go down fairly badly at the British Library, but that's another story, isn't it? The World Wide Web changes this because it's based on the infrastructure of the decentralized infrastructure of the internet. On the World Wide Web, you can plug a computer, actually most of your phones would probably do this in all honesty, plug a computer into the network, run a web server on it, post content on your web server. And broadly speaking, it's really, really hard for anybody to stop you doing that, as long as you're not breaking laws or anything like that. You don't need to apply to Tim Berners-Lee and the fathers of the internet for permission to create a web server or to plug a web server into the net. And that sense of now, it's a many-to-many communication. That a child in a primary school today can write a blog post that could be read potentially by 3 billion other people connected to the internet. That's a radical transformation. It really is. So it becomes a many-to-many thing. So we have now the devices in our pockets which allow us access to all of that content. We're at a point where if you're sufficiently literate, motivated, connected, and have the time, you can teach yourself pretty much anything. But more than that, you can contribute to the conversation. You can create the content yourself using the device in your pocket. Many of you have already been tweeting, some of you have been taking photographs. And so the Secretary of State last week at the BET show announces free beer. No, she didn't actually announce free beer. That would have made the headlines, though. But she does talk about a school in Cambridge, the Stephen Peirce Foundation, good school, great head teacher, announced that they were making 12 multimedia textbooks, multimedia, there's a word for the 2015s, textbooks available online for all to use. This is a fabulous thing. Of course it's a fabulous thing. But it is for all to use. You can download it off iTunes U and read books and play the multimedia content, and that's great. But it is very much Stephen Peirce Foundation's textbook. Great that they've shared it. It really is. The world's largest collection of free educational content is already available on Apple's iTunes U platform. Is that where you would go to for free educational content. There's a couple of other websites that occur to me. YouTube, some of you will have seen YouTube. It's really, really good. There's lots and lots of free educational content on there. There's also weird videos of Stampy playing Minecraft. I suppose it is educational. Of children unboxing Kinder eggs. Don't get me started. I have a 4-year-old. Okay. And there's Wikipedia. Yeah. What an amazing project. I suppose iTunes, you can apply for permission and get your content hosted on there, but it's very much a publishing-like model, isn't it? Of this has to be approved, this has to be accepted. Whereas YouTube, just put up the videos of you opening a Kinder egg. Wikipedia, edit the page, add something to it, improve what's there. This is far, far closer to Berners-Lee's vision of what the web was going to do than just hosting content for others to access. A former Secretary of State, Michael Gove, anybody in the room remember Michael Gove's? Okay, right, one or two. In an open source world, why should we accept that a curriculum is a single static document, a statement of priorities frozen in time, a blunt instrument landing with a thunk on teachers' desks and updated only centrally and only infrequently? Oh, for a brief, glorious period, he said there's no requirements for ICT/computing. You can teach what you want for 2 years. We need to consider how we can take a wiki collaborative approach to developing new curriculum materials, using technological platforms to their full advantage and creating something far more sophisticated than anything previously available. You may disagree with him on many, many points. No, seriously, you may. You didn't need my permission for that. But that's actually pretty visionary stuff, isn't it? Okay, so let's take him at his word. Here is the National Curriculum for Computing. And with a little bit of luck, the bookmarks are installed. Activate my X-ray goggles. And I think, yes, I can start editing the National Curriculum for Computing. So what shall we change here? Anybody want to make any changes? Common uses of use technology safely and respectfully, keeping personal information private. Identify where to go for help and support when they have concerns about content or contact on the internet or other technologies, and being aware of their, oopsie-daisy, rights online. Do you not think that would have been a sensible thing to have written in at some point to the National Curriculum? Save the changes. Ta-da! National Curriculum edited there and then in front of you. Click the P button at the bottom of the screen, publish it. Do I then get in trouble because I've just hacked the government's web server? I hope not, okay. Any of you who are worried, though, well, isn't that sort of that, breach of copyright or something like that? No, it isn't, because government content is licensed under a liberal license. You have the terms and conditions that apply to this, the open government license. And this says, we all are free to copy, publish, distribute, transmit the information, adapt the information. Yes, you have to teach the national curriculum if you're in a local authority-supported school, but you can teach anything else you want as well. So why not edit it? Add a few changes in there. What do you think we ought to be covering? Shouldn't there be a degree of criticality about the implications of technology for our lives and for society's life if we failed to mention that? Okay, so anyhow, the stuff which you do have to teach in local authority-supported schools. At Key Stage 1, children should be taught to use technology purposefully to create, organise, store, manipulate and retrieve digital content. Now, hand on heart, we were thinking about their own content, but it doesn't say their own content, yeah? Manipulate and retrieve could be others' content too. Teaching children, and we have this in a commercial scheme of work I've been involved with, they go and find public domain or Creative Commons licensed pictures on the internet and bring them together to make a collection of images of animals or insects or birds or whatever. They are manipulating content that other people have created. And we teach children, or we should be teaching children, to do that in an appropriate way. Children should be taught to use technology respectfully. And that surely means not using things without permission, and where people have given permission subject to them being credited as the author, mentioning that they're the author of that content. Up in Key Stage 2, understand the opportunities computer networks offer for collaboration. Why not get children editing simple Wikipedia pages? Isn't that a great way to understand the opportunities computer networks offer for collaboration? To use search technologies effectively and be discerning in evaluating digital content. Well, using a search technology effectively, to my mind, should include being able to filter by the licenses under which the content has been posted, being able to find Creative Commons licensed pictures to put in your presentation or whatever. And again, using technology respectfully, but also notice this time responsibly, thinking about the implications of what they do online and recognizing acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Again, come back to my Wikipedia example about that. So yes, do teach a respect for copyright. Don't, make it clear to them that downloading copyrighted material is a bad thing to do. But also show how they can improve content, which is there, which has been shared under liberal licenses. Up in Key Stage 3, there's an explicit expectation that they get into remixing, create, reuse, revise and repurpose, digital artifacts for a given audience with attention to trustworthiness, design and usability. That's really an entitlement for children to be taught about Creative Commons licenses, unless you take a really strange interpretation of what the words are there. And of course, understand a range of ways to use technology respectfully again and responsibly, recognise inappropriate conduct and how to report concerns. Key Stage 4, we kind of wimped out of the whole thing, but there is this vague general, you could do this across the curriculum thing, develop their capability, creativity and knowledge in digital media amongst other things. Yeah? And again, that's going to involve remixing, working with things other people have done and sharing their work with an audience, ideally under some sort of liberal license, so together we can do something which is better still. Okay, in terms of resources to support the computing curriculum, we have the Subject Association for Computer Science, Computing at School, which has got, about 17,500 members at the moment. Those members have shared 2,500 resources for teaching computing. And that is absolutely fabulous. It really is. That we have a new subject on the curriculum here, and teachers have willingly popped up their own schemes of work, lesson plans, PowerPoint presentations, programming activities, whatever, to share with that community of fellow teachers. And the default position there is that when they post a resource up onto the CAS site, it comes with a Creative Commons attribution share-alike license. So that's saying, yes, I made this, but I'm happy for you to use it as long as you allow others to use it under the same terms. Different license condition than what Leicester is recommending, interestingly. But, the point is, or one of the points is, that teachers don't actually have, most teachers in most schools don't have the rights to upload their work done at school onto the CAS site. That's a real shame, and I suspect many CAS members don't worry about that. And it would be a weird employer to start disciplinary proceedings on that basis. If you're in Leicester, sadly uniquely, but rather wonderfully for Leicester, you're fine, because thanks to Josie and the work here, your employer has said that's okay. You can upload your plans, your resources to the CAS site with impunity because you can license them under those terms and conditions. And that is exactly as it should be. I'm going to skip, briefly then, in terms of using these resources. You can buy the shrink wrap schemes of work. Okay, I have a very popular one on the market at the moment. Talk to me at break time. Which, not so much that, but other, this is follow the instructions. It's all done for you. Or you can take the slow food approach of let's roll our sleeves up. Let's meet around the kitchen table. And okay, it's not just put it into the microwave, type in the code number and wait until it's ready. This is something where we together will make a meal amongst ourselves, or we'll make something together. The analogy is going to fall down in a moment. Okay. So other things which CAS... We've got to stop talking. Oh, no. Okay, other things CAS have been involved with, or I've been involved with for CAS, we've licensed under Creative Commons, or actually open government licenses. So the stuff on the screen there is covered by Crown Copyright Open Government license or by other similarly liberal license terms and conditions. And that's there as resources to support teachers in delivering the new computing curriculum, but it's also there so that they can adapt and change this. I want to talk very, very briefly, because I'm out of time, about children's own work and how that can be licensed. So our go-to toolkit for teaching children how to program in primary schools is this great thing called Scratch from the Lifelong Kindergarten group at MIT, which is itself produced under an open source license. You can go to GitHub and download and edit and remix the source code for Scratch yourself. Now, making your own version of Scratch just so it's my own version of Scratch would seem an odd thing to do, but the fact that they've shared the code for Scratch so broadly means you've got some really nice projects being developed, such as Connect to Scratch, which takes the Xbox controller and allows Scratch to interact with that, such as the one which works with the Mindstorms Lego, such as the one which actually works on the iPad. How about that? But the best thing about Scratch is not, the lovely building block interface, but the share button up at the top of the screen. Because once a child has got an account on the Scratch website, they can take their project, which they're really proud of, look what I've made, and then share that with the other children, grown-ups, whatever, who are using the Scratch community site. And then others will take their project and change it and build on it and make it their own. And that is such an inspiring thing for a child. It's not just, look, people have seen my work, as we have with blogging, as somebody's taken my work and made it their own. Can a child do that? Have they got the rights to license their work under that Creative Commons, attribution share alike license? Actually, they have, irrespective of the school in which they're being taught, irrespective of who their teachers are. Children own the copyright in the work that they do in school. They are the creators of their original work, and they can license it. Okay, it's a little bit tricky because they're under 18, so their parents would act as their legal representatives for this. But, essentially, it's the child's work. You can't post their work to your blog without their permission, or their parents on your behalf. So what's it all about? Stop talking, Miles. Okay, I'm going to stop, but there's Twittery things up on screen. Okay.
Miles, thank you.